It is now 8:30. Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice program here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. This is the WLBB Community Voice. I'm your host this morning, Colin Worthington. Thanks for checking us out this morning. We're also on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, so if you want to watch us there, just like Olivia Russell already is, apparently. She said so, said she's watching. You can watch us on the Facebook Live. You can also post your questions and comments for my guest this morning on that page. His name is Ernie Reynolds. He is the District 5 Commissioner for Carroll County. Give you a reminder about Ernie. He won a special election a couple of years ago to fulfill incomplete term not completed. And then last year he won his election for his first full 4-year term as a District 5 Commissioner. So about 2.5 years he's been in that seat. Professional background includes 34-year career in a government watchdog capacity, promoting government accountability as Deputy Director in the State Department of Audits. In that position, he led teams of auditors to improve the operations of statewide government programs and contracts. This was accomplished by assessing the effectiveness, efficiency, management, processes, governance, budgets, strategic plans, legislation, and policies of programs and contracts throughout state government. That all sounds like stuff which would be helpful in the position he is in now. Again, Ernie Reynolds, District 5 Commissioner from the town of Clem, right? That's where you are now. Well, thank you, sir, for coming out. You and I had talked about doing this for like the last 2 months, and finally got a good time. Had another open spot, so I do appreciate you working out. Let us start out with these appraisals, just because I personally see that people are a little frustrated after receiving those. Those were sent out, I want to say last week or 2 weeks ago, property appraisals, and the comments we're seeing from a lot of people. They're frustrated because their values went up, which to me sounds good, but they're looking at their taxes and they're using the millage rate from last year to see what their taxes are. I mean, there's still potential for the local governments to lower that millage rate. Are you getting any kind of feedback at this point? Do you have to remind people what's going on with this?
I so far have not gotten much, but as you recall, I'll back up about a year and a half or two, and I had several complaints and I guess you could say led the charge against processes and attitudes of the property tax assessor's office. I will give a shout out now to them and say they have turned things around, and I was able to nominate, and the board approved Jim Swinson, who was a new board member, put on there last year. And then the tax assessor's board has put Hubert Sparks in as the new director of the tax assessor's office, and Hubert is just a very good, capable person to lead that office, and I've gotten several positive comments about him, even from my constituents who had complaints, and very customer service oriented. That's exactly what we needed, and thanks, kudos to the tax assessors board for making that change, and things are going much better. So I know I got my own tax estimate, and if you notice on the tax estimate itself, I meant to bring mine, and because no secret, anybody can look it up. But the estimate shows at the bottom, it's made up of 2 or 3 sections. So you have the county maintenance and operations section, then you have the school maintenance and operations, and then, if applicable, if your property is in city limits, you have a city operations portion of taxes. So on mine, and I don't know if this is true for everyone's, but my county tax estimate did not go up, but my school estimate did go up, and by far the school estimate is a much larger portion than my county portion. So I would just suggest that people look at that, and I'm not trying to throw the county school board or city schools or whatever under the school bus, but there are those separate portions, and sometimes people think, oh, the county or the county commissioners or whatever are raising my taxes, and that's not true. And of course, it all has to do with the millage rate, but I'll get to that in just a minute. First of all, I guess it's very appropriate to say that the state mandates that valuations keep at a 40% level of current sales. And as we all know, current sales have increased dramatically. And we've had a lot of sales, and those sales have come in at much higher values. So if the county does not increase according to those sales values, then we get penalized, because where I used to work, they have a division called the Sales Ratio Division, and the State Auditor's Office Sales Ratio Division comes to counties and actually audits and gives that information to Department of Revenue, and then the county can be penalized, as it was several years ago, for not appropriately raising the values. Another thing to consider is that there are several exemptions, homestead exemption, conservation use, and that kind of thing, that keep your values or keep your tax down, even though your values go up.
And that homestead exemption is pretty easy to be part of, I mean, to sign up for.
Right.
Just have to do it in that time frame.
Right. So there is a part of all this that is mandated, and we must do it, because otherwise we get slapped with penalties from the state, because the state wants to ensure that it gets its appropriate revenue. So
well, based on that, on the numbers that'll be released in the Tax Digest, I mean, there'll be a rollback rate set. Will that be set? I mean, you talked about the number that showed up for Board of Education and the number that showed up for county government.
Right.
Do you expect that rollback rate would change for the county and not for the BOE?
Well, I don't know. Of course, the Board of Commissioners doesn't have a thing to do with the county schools. Right. So the schools is all set by the school board, and as part of the Board of Commissioners, a lot of times I get complaints about the school portion and so on, but the
rollback rate itself is set by the entity that puts all those numbers together. It's not you guys don't set the rollback rate. You could approve the rollback rate, but you guys don't set that number.
Well, we determine whether, based on our budget, if we can roll back the millage rate or not, and of course we have to come up with a budget before we get to decide on the millage rate.
Maybe so saying set's not right, to determine that rate, determine what that rollback rate is.
Right.
You guys don't do that.
So down the road, we don't know yet whether we can or should actually roll back the county portion of the millage rate, but that's a possibility. I can assure you, and I am always an advocate of not raising property taxes. That's I don't like that, and I ran on that, and I don't want to raise property taxes. I'm a landowner, and I feel very empathetic toward landowners and their taxes. But the millage rate is fairly low, and whether we roll that back or not, I'm not sure if we can, but that is a possibility. So for the county portion, I think we operate very, very frugally, and I can get into some performance indicators and that kind of thing, and the budget a little more, but I believe the county portion, that I'm satisfied with where property values and the resulting tax is, but we'll look at that in the next couple of months, I guess, where we set the millage rate. So the millage rate, I can just about say with all confidence, I do not believe that the county portion, we are not going to increase the millage rate. at all. Whether we keep that the same or roll it back, I don't know, but it won't be increased.
That is the thing that the local governments and the school boards seem to promote. If they do maintain the millage rate each year, even if it does raise taxes. And as far as the way we phrase it, as far as the media phrases it, when the millage rate, and this is your own perspective here, when the millage rate is not, it's not even changed. It's left the same every year. But there is a rollback rate, and that rollback rate is not accepted, not approved. It's just maintained as a well. Perhaps before you were with the Board of Commissioners, how did you view that? Did you see that as a tax increase? Is it fair to say that is a tax increase when you just maintain the millage rate when there is a rollback rate?
Well, of course, it's all mathematic. I mean, if the millage rate is just the multiplication factor of the value. So if the value goes up and the millage rate stays the same, then you have to consider all the exemptions and that kind of thing, like we talked about. But yes, mathematically, then there is the potential for an increase in your actual tax bill. Yeah. So and that's why we will look at the budget hard in the next couple of months and see if we can roll it back or we need to leave it the same. But there does seem to be good fair value, I guess, in our property tax system. If we leave it the same, that is a possibility. Based on the exemptions, it might increase your taxes or it might not. It just depends on how that works out mathematically. Yeah.
District 5, Carroll County Commissioner on the Board of Commissioners, Ernie Reynolds, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Time right now is 8:42. We'll take our first break and come back and talk about a couple of other topics. We are on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page this morning, so I encourage you to post any comments or questions you have up there, and I'll try and read those during the break. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
As a graduate of Oak Mountain Academy, I've found that my experience on the mountain prepared me beyond all expectations. As a junior at Auburn University, I approached my studies with great confidence thanks to what I learned at OMA. When I think back on my time on the mountain, I think of my teachers. Their genuine love and concern for me as a student was always evident, and now, as an adult, I still foster those relationships. I'm Carly Robinson, an Oak Mountain Academy alum. Visit oakmountain.us to see how you can offer your child an amazing opportunity to be a warrior.
Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. Time right now is 8:44. And I'm your host this morning, Colin Worthington. Our guest is Ernie Reynolds, District 5, representative on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. I don't know how much you can talk about this, but the rock quarry obviously has been a big issue in District 5 for over the last 2 years. Last I heard that it was heading to court, and I'm just going to assume that people know the story up to this point, but is there anything else we can say about that at this point as it is, I guess, about to go to court or maybe even in the courts right now?
Okay. Well, I have been instructed by our county attorneys that I can't say things about it because of it is under litigation. So all I know since that transpired is that it is from what I've heard from the county attorneys, headed to litigation, and that, I guess, is all I can say. We of course did all we could, and I'll just talk a little bit about a personality factor called greed. I
Not directed at anybody or anything, just a random thought about
right. It annoys me that well, for one thing, I'm not against a rock quarry anywhere in Carroll County. I'm just against it in quiet, agricultural, peaceful neighborhoods where people have bought property and want the quiet of a rural lifestyle, and to have that upset it doesn't sit well with me. I wouldn't like it next door to me, and I don't like it next door to them. I will also say that a couple of people approached me from up there and said that they had a child or children. They were bothered with, I guess, seizures based on, loud noise or tremors or that kind of thing, and they were very concerned. And that just about makes me emotional when I think, industry takes over, and the greed factor is prevalent no matter the cost. And I will say that I've always told my children, who are 30 and 33 now, so they tell me some things I should change now, which is a good thing. But I've always explained to them a cost versus benefit. And I think in any situation and any decision we make, there is a cost side and there's a benefit side. And to me, greed really interferes with wise choices about that. And when industry is greedy enough to take away the quiet solitude of where people live and how their children can enjoy their habitat and the rural agricultural setting, that really rankles me and gets under my skin. I don't like it one bit.
Clearly,
so
it obviously does rankle you.
Thank you.
And I'll say this, and I don't think it affects the case. But initially, it kind of felt like the county may have dropped the ball on that. But since that, it just initially seemed like that, because all of a sudden this popped up and everybody was like, "Whoa!" And then just a landslide of people speaking out against it. But I was amazed at what the county allegedly did afterwards to make sure that in their minds that this wasn't going to happen, and it felt like they were sticking up for their constituents.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like a big effort, so it was really impressive. If you're one that feels that way and doesn't want that there. It was amazing to see it, behind the scenes, and then of course the commissioners working as well.
Thank you.
Ernie Reynolds, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, District 5 Commissioner on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. This week, Carroll County, a group of, I guess there was a group put together to find a new president CEO for Carroll County Chamber in Carroll tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a name recognized statewide and perhaps on the national level as well, Karen Handel. What are your feelings on that pick, and have you received any feedback? I'll tell you, on the WLBB Facebook page, you received a lot of feedback, and maybe just one or two of them were positive.
Mm-hmm.
But how about you? How about constituents or business owners in your district? Have they reached out to you at all?
Well, I've gotten questions about what do you think about it. I didn't have anything to do with the choice. The Board of Commissioners didn't, as far as I know.
But she could be working with the Board of Commissioners, to
sure,
bring in business to those districts and communities.
And of course, Loy Howard and the Carroll Tomorrow organization and Daniel Jackson. I have tremendous respect for them. They're great people. So if that committee came up with that choice, I feel like they are 100% out for the good of Carroll County. Having said that, I will just say from an empirical view, aside from all that I am for preserving as my constituents want. I'm here to reflect my constituents and their feelings and their needs. So, and they align with mine about 99.9% of the time. So, I feel like we need to preserve, in my district at least. I can't speak for the entire county because I represent District 5, but we want to preserve things so that the rural agricultural lifestyle thrives, and that industry and large subdivisions and so on do not come in and take over, and we become like Gwinnett. All I can say about the Karen Handel thing is that she may adapt that view for District 5. We do not want a Fulton County, Metro Atlanta representative to come in and make Carroll County, or at least the District 5 portion of Carroll County, like those places. So that's about all I can say.
Big E, Ernie Reynolds, District 5 Commissioner on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. We're going to take our final break, come back with about 7 minutes, conclude our conversation. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
At Oak Mountain Academy, our daily schedule includes convocation, prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance. By doing so, we build a family-like community where all students grow and flourish, and personal faith is encouraged. Through community service and a historical approach to biblical study, our students are taught the value of the warrior way: honesty, respect, and responsibility. Oak Mountain Academy. We are a family creating legacies. To learn more, visit oakmountain.us.
8:54. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. Got about 5.5 minutes left in our program, and I'm pretty much just going to hand the ball over to you for the most part, Ernie. Just closing comments, but I'll go to Facebook. Alex Parker says, "Man, I wish I lived in Ernie's district." And Fred Smith also asking, does our current zoning allow for a rock quarry? That was changed, and that's part of the story, the bigger story.
That's exactly right. It was changed so that now they are not allowed in agricultural districts, only in industrial zone districts.
And Fred Smith also says, I'd like to know if Ernie is for more government or less government. I believe that's...
Well, I'm always for less government. Get government out and let the people do their thing, except where industry like rock quarries or whatever take over, and you then have to come in to protect the people.
And that specific question, I've asked you and during your race, it's like, when is it okay to tell somebody who owns a property that they can't do something they want to with it? And,
right. Well, I'm not for that at all. In fact, I went against some of that was proposed, where we were coming up with several pages of stuff that people could and could not do as far as home-based businesses. And I'm like, what in the world are we doing this for? And the reply was like, well, traffic will congest on the streets if they stop there and so on. I said, well, then address that. Don't address what you can and can't do out of the house. So no, government should stay out of the way, except for where it's needed to protect the people and have the people live as they should.
I know we'd hope to talk about a lot of specific things. We got caught on a couple of topics for a good 10, 15 minutes. But just like I say, I do want to give you the final 4 or 5 minutes here to anything we can talk about as far as government operations, as far as Carroll County's operations, our place, where we're headed.
Okay. Well, I guess overall, I'd just like to let people know I'm very much a data-driven, results kind of guy. I've advocated that in state government and spearheaded that because of performance audits we did and so on. So I try to always look and compare from a data standpoint how Carroll County is. How does our budget compare to other counties? Are we getting too much revenue? Are we spending too much? From the empirical view, I'll just quickly say, as time goes by more quickly than I realize, but I don't have much time left. So how can I paraphrase this? Carroll County is frugal. I think you can rest assured, and I as a taxpayer rest assured that we are operating frugally. Our per capita expenditures and our per square mile expenditures, of course Carroll County is big, so that may not be as relevant as the per capita, but the per capita expenditures are low compared to other overall budget other counties. So I feel like the people here are getting fair value, and that our budget is not excessive. Having said that, that does not mean that I am for increasing it and so on. We did increase it, but I feel that was for all intents and purposes necessary increases, and I will still advocate for managing things frugally. We don't want to become spendthrift. We are not. There's no red flag there. All of our district commissioners and so on are very frugal, and I feel like we all are together on that. So, but I would like to see some changes. I would like to see where we more incentivize and bring about more accountability among employees by implementing performance evaluation systems and so on. That's just part of accountable government. I mean, you can run a lawnmower shop with 6 employees without those kind of accountability systems, but when you get 600 and some employees, I think it's time to implement formal evaluation systems and so on. Having said that, that is not to say that department heads and so on that I criticize them. Quite the opposite. Our department heads are terrific. I have great rapport, and that's another area where we are getting a bargain, because several of our department heads, including Ben Skipper in Community Development, Charles Pope in Public Works, Tim Paget in the Fire Department, they run multiple entities. So instead of having a director over each one, they are running multiple entities themselves, and so we're saving a lot of money there, and they're doing a good job at it, and I have tremendous rapport with them. Anything I ask from Community Development or from Roads or from Fire, I get, and I couldn't ask for better. So I think we're in good shape, but I'm in for a data-driven budget and for data-driven employee evaluations.
Got about 30 seconds left. Best way for constituents to reach out to you through Facebook, call you?
Well, my cell phone is the most reliable. I check Facebook periodically, but my cell phone or email is much better. I don't rely on Facebook that much anymore. But I would like to say that just as always, I am conservative. I believe in accountability, and part of accountability is having good leadership to create synergy and incentivize our workforce. And I am here for accountable government and also for transparency. So I have nothing to hide. If anyone wants to call me, I will openly discuss whatever situation.
Ernie Reynolds represents District 5 on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. He's been our guest on this morning's Community Voice. Time right now is 9 o'clock. Have a great Thursday. Tomorrow our guest is Carrollton Mayor Betty Casey.
And the local stories.